that's true. Naked Palpatine.
Oh, you pick that one. Fresh out of the clone tank, nude Palpatine is my
Well, that's the first thing I think of when you say Dark Empire Palpatine.
I had notes. I decided no. I decided I'm not gonna do that. The props I give this book. This was written in 1777, so we're still a few years off the American Civil War. And the Old English Baron was written by a woman, which, 1777, I mean, that's pretty cool to have a woman writer this early. Now, I've not read too many female fantasy works or sci-fi works as of yet. I have read many woman writers in the Star Wars Expanded Universe, and I have read Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte, which I did enjoy. I did not enjoy this. In the opening, the author basically addresses the fact that she is writing kind of like a spiritual successor to A Castle of Otronto. But her biggest critique of the man, of his story, was that it was too out there, like giant helmets falling from the sky and all this fantastical elements. It was too much. So she decided to double down in the opposite direction, where everything's pretty mundane. I mean, there is ghosts, there is some, castles and weirdy stuff, By and large, this story, which, I mean, it's written well, it's fine. I don't have any problems with the prose, per se. But all of this story is a whole bunch of people talking about legal stuff, primarily. And all these people interested in this teenage boy or young man, Edmund, who turns out to be the rightful heir of this place, just much like in Castle of Otronto. And also, there's this part where they find out that Edmund is in fact royalty or whatever, when they go to visit his birth, not his birth mother, but his foster mother took care of him, and they just basically harass and bully her into giving out this information, even though she deliberately tells these men that her husband beats her all the time and that she's afraid of him knowing that she's been talking and not really addressing that, which I get it. It's 1777, so I guess they're like, well, whatever, you're gonna get hit. It's your husband. I don't know. But that wasn't fun to read, especially because it wasn't addressed. And it's just boring. It is just boring. She went, even if you want to make an argument. Now, I had fun with Castle of Otronto. I don't think it's the greatest thing ever, but I had fun with it. But to go in the opposite direction, make it completely mundane. Now, of course, people in the future would definitely perfect that, right? I mean, look at Stephen King. He's famous for the mundane and then putting the extreme, the paranormal, the fantastical into the mundane. But this was not it. This is just legal talks for the majority of it. And listen, it's just kind of boring. She's also very moralistic in this story, which I get it. It's 1777, but it's just, I struggle to really say anything about it. And I don't DNF books. I will never do that. To me, if I start a book, I'm going to finish it. But I can't lie to you that I didn't start glazing over midway through toward the end and started just making sure I didn't miss anything important. But I wasn't really immersing myself into the text and really trying to gauge because I just wasn't feeling it. And I kept hoping it would change, but it did not. and I'm not going to pretend that I gave it my 100% utmost attention and delicacy, because I didn't. I was definitely glazing over. I made sure I knew what was happening, but I wasn't invested. And I don't have any notes for you. You know, sometimes when I do these reviews, I have like whole passages and quotes that I'll read to you. I have none of that here. I have nothing to add here. I don't like that she went the complete opposite way and doubled down on the mundane. What she should have done is, what she should have tried to do is find a nice medium, but she didn't. So, should you read this? In my opinion, no. There's nothing really here worth it. Is it important to the history of the Gothic literature? Absolutely. And it is definitely influential moving forward for stories we'll get later. For sure. For sure. But I really cannot, in good conscience, recommend this story to anyone unless they are really into the Gothic era literature and they really want that historical piece they want to learn, which is kind of what I did. Now, that's the same thing I did with Castle of Otranto, and I found myself actually quite enjoying it. Again, I didn't think it was phenomenal, but I did enjoy my time way more than I expected to. With this was homework. It was not something I enjoyed to read. And I hate to say that about the first woman author of the Gothic literature, but I know that there'll be later woman authors that will do better because I've read better with Wuthering Heights. So, but this one was not it. I'm sorry to tell you. But yeah, I know I'm kind of vague. I didn't really go into spoilers. I don't have a spoiler section because I don't really want to keep talking about this book. One thing you'll notice if you subscribe to my channel is the less I enjoy your book, the shorter the runtime will be. The more I enjoy your book, the longer the review is going to be. But I just have nothing to add here. There's other people who are smarter than me that dedicate their lives to, studying certain areas of history, and there's other people on YouTube you can watch if you want a more in-depth thing here. But the Old English Baron was not my cup of tea. Did not enjoy it. Am not a fan. But you should always try everything for yourself. Don't take my word for it. I'm just a weirdo. I'm a loser. I'm a dummy. But if you feel like you've been watching some of my videos and you feel like we align somewhat, then maybe skip it. But if you're like, Alex, you're a dummy on every single take you've ever had, then fair enough. Go on and read it yourself and decide for yourself. You should always decide for yourself. Never let a YouTuber dictate to you what should or shouldn't be enjoyed by you. But for me, it was a miss. And I hate to say it. But like I said, and I'm sure I'll ruffle some feathers, I'm never gonna lie. I always try to be positive. I really do. And I'm glad that a woman got to write this story. I'm glad that this led the way for more women to write stories, or at least in Gothic literature. But it's for me nothing special. I recognize its importance, but I think the story itself is nothing special. But yeah, that's pretty much it. When you see me next, we'll deal with a different sort of Gothic literature, with the Orientalist Gothic, where we have Vathic, where we deal with the Middle East, and it's probably going to be racist, I imagine. But I know that it definitely influenced a lot more famous works like Dracula and stuff down the line. So for that, I'm definitely going to read it and hopefully not be too offended. But I guess we'll see. But as long as it doesn't bore me, even if it upsets me majorly, at least it'll be a solid, strong emotion toward it, which I would prefer. Because, as Kreia says in Knights of the Old Republic 2, the video game, apathy is death. Till next time.